In this video, I'm going to share with you the most powerful sales technique that I've used over thousands of one-on-one sales calls I've taken over Zoom to close over $3 million personally and close at over 50% closing rate consistently, okay? This is one simple method that's simple but not easy to apply. It's very complex, but I'm gonna break it down step by step in this video and make it very, very easy to understand and easy for you to apply. So you can just like take this away, use on your next sales call, because this stuff is what allows some closers to make like 20, 30, 40K per month without taking more sales calls, without working longer hours. Because I see a lot of sales coaches talking about is like working harder and like taking more calls. And like, sure, you can definitely like take more calls to make more money. But personally, I prefer just getting better at sales so I can make more money taking the same amount of calls on a daily basis, basically getting better at selling. You know, it's like closing a higher percentage of the people that you actually talk to. So I'm gonna break down how to do that in a very, very efficient way. This is not some word track. It's not like say this on your sales call. It's not a discovery question or a specific way of handling objections or how to pitch, etc. This is some more high level stuff that you probably haven't heard most of your sales coaches talk about. But this stuff got me extremely good at sales. Like I've been hitting consistent 60 to 70% closing rate thanks to this technique. And to explain this to you, I have to give a bit of a backstory first off. And you need to understand that most closers is like following a script. Every single person, every single prospect they're talking to, they just follow the same script, ask the same questions, do the same pitch, and they handle objections the same way. And that definitely works. You can definitely like close well doing that if you follow a good script, you follow a good process. But there's a way more efficient way of doing things. A way that I've been doing things that I learned from a mentor back in the day when I started off in high ticket sales has allowed me to make my calls super short. Literally close people in under 20 minutes, create rapport extremely quickly, connect well with people, and have very, very focused conversations where I can just get straight into the problem, understand people very, very quickly, and close them extremely effectively as well because of the fact that I understand people. Have short discoveries where I have to ask people like 4 to 5 questions instead of having to draw out and sit there for like 30 minutes. Everything becomes so much easier when you apply this principle on your sales calls. And my promise with this video is if you watch this all the way through and you actually apply this stuff, your future sales calls and your ability to sell moving forward is gonna skyrocket. And you will never have to worry about ever going broke again when you've mastered this skill set. So enough yapping now. What is this actually about? What I'm talking about is a technique called personality-based closing, okay? So what is that? Basically what that means is that instead of closing every single person and treating every single prospect in the exact same way, asking the same questions to every single person, digging into the problem in the exact same way, pitching everyone in the exact same way, and closing everyone in the exact same way, what I started doing a couple of years ago when I got into high ticket sales is I started treating calls in a different way, because I noticed that sometimes I got on the sales call with someone and I just noticed that like some of the questions that I was asking in my discovery and some of the stuff that I was saying in my pitch, it didn't land with them. When I was handling objections, some stuff didn't land with these people at all, and some stuff landed extremely well. And I started noticing these patterns. I started putting different people I was speaking with in different buckets. You know, I was talking with, let's say, a single mom, you know, and she had these type of concerns, these type of things that she really cared about in the pitch, and some things that she didn't care about at all, you know, and some questions that really hit well with her in the discovery, some stuff she didn't care about whatsoever. I was talking with like this high level like business guy, like a multimillionaire, and some stuff he cared a lot about in the pitch. Some stuff he didn't ask a single question, he kind of just ignored the stuff that I said. Some stuff when I was in discovery asking him questions, some stuff really landed well with him. He happily just responded and gave me super good responses. Some stuff made him kind of like upset and he didn't want to answer him, etc. Talk with the 9-to-5er and a young guy. You get the point. I was talking with different types of people and seeing what worked and what doesn't work. And the thing is, like, most closers never do this. Most people just like follow the same thing. Every single person just run the calls exact same way. And that is why they're mediocre. That's why they never make like 20, 30K per month in high ticket sales, you know? The way I've been able to get to a point where I'm making multiple 6 figures per year in high ticket sales was by understanding that I, as a sales rep, need to show up to every single sales call as the type of person that this prospect needs me to be to close them, to help them, okay? And that doesn't mean following the same script for every single person, okay? For example, if I'm talking to a business guy that's very action driven, that's very straight to the point, ready to move forward, ready to take action, doesn't overthink, doesn't delay, if it logically makes sense, he's ready to move forward. If I talk to someone like that and I start asking this person, how does it feel for you not making the income that you want to be making right now? What is it going to feel like for you if you don't make these changes and you stay in the same position 6 months from now? These questions might land amazingly well for someone else, but for this specific person, it's most likely not going to land well. He's not going to trust me. He's not going to feel like I'm an expert because it doesn't really apply to him. And that is what I'm trying to convey here. Like every single question that you ask, there's a clear intention behind asking it. And those questions usually only make sense for certain types of people that you're speaking with, you know? And that's why becoming aware of the personality type that you're speaking with, who you're talking to, who this person is, how they make decisions, what's stopping them from achieving their goal is so important. Because if you understand these things, you can make your calls extremely efficient. You can instead lead through the entire call in a way more efficient manner, get straight to the close. For example, again, if you're talking to someone who's a business owner, who's successful, who's done well, who's an action taker, you don't need to sit there and like just hammer down on what's gonna happen if he doesn't take action and like the impact if he stays the same. That type of person, you just need to help them understand why it logically makes sense for him to put his time, effort, resources into this vehicle compared to other things. And also he has to get his commitment that he's willing to push himself and go the extra mile that it's gonna take to actually succeed with this. If you do those things and you pitch properly, you'll close most of those guys, okay? Another example, let's say you're talking to someone who's an older person, who's been in a 9 to 5 for a long time, who's been trying to make change, who's kind of insecure in their own ability to actually like make stuff work. They desperately want to get out of their current job, but they haven't really like figured it out so far. A lot of people are gonna come on a sales call with a lot of doubt. You know, they don't know if they can make it work. They have massive amount of pain, but they don't know if they can actually like figure stuff out. If you come on a sales call with that and you just like go super hard on the pain and get people to tell you like how much problems they have right now and why their life is shit, and you just like hammer down and like ask them a lot of questions like, how does it feel for you? Why haven't you been able to figure this out? Blah, 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 blah. That person is probably not going to be in the actual buying pocket. They're not going to be ready to buy because they don't even believe that it's possible, you know, because you've handled the call in the wrong way. Someone like that, what you need to do for them, when you speak with someone like that, you need to instead build them up. Someone that's very doubtful, they don't know if they can actually make it work. You need to focus more on like the goals, like what do they want, make them excited and like see what the potential actually is for them if they make these changes, and just help them see the vision here, you know? So I think you're starting to get the point now. You need to start adapting your sales calls, adapting your process to each and every single person. This comes with practice. When you do a bunch of calls, it's naturally gonna come into place when you do it. But a good place to start is on your next sales call, is become more aware of who you're talking to. Ask yourself when you're on the call with them, who is this person? How does this person I'm talking to right now make decisions? What's probably holding this person back based on the language that they're using? And there's a lot of different ways to tell this, you know, but usually you will find signs if you listen close to the words that they're using, how they're talking, how they're describing themselves, their current situation, words and sentences that they usually repeat and come back to. For example, if someone keeps coming back to the fact that I haven't found the perfect solution, they say that over and over again. So a very big chance that person is like an overthinker, someone who's in like a research mode, who's kind of like stuck, like a perfectionist type of person. And then you want to handle that, okay? Another good example here is a type of prospect that I struggled a lot closing when I was new in my closing career. And that was engineers. People that are in the engineer profession, they're typically very, very analytical. They want to basically guarantee that whatever they try is not going to fail because that's how they're used in their profession. And like that's basically what an engineer does. Their job is basically to build out plans and make sure the likelihood of failure is extremely, extremely low and close to zero, which means that when they're trying to get into like entrepreneurship and start their own business or trying to get into making money online, it's very hard for them to actually take the risk. They're usually stuck in like a research mode, just like trying to gather more information before actually taking action on something. And that's something that I struggle with. I struggle with getting to the end of the sales calls and these guys like over and over again telling me like, Alex, I need to think about it. It's too big of a risk. I need to become more certain. And these guys are constantly just backing out. So what I started doing is I started just handling that type of person in a different way. I started just hammering down when I was talking to an engineer. I just heavily went into that specific part. A lot of times those guys, they had a clear goal, they had a clear like problem right now, but it just came down to them not being willing to take the risk and actually be willing to step into uncertainty. So on my sales calls, I started asking questions around that specifically for those types of prospects. And all of a sudden I started closing them, like left and right, started closing these engineers because I did a very specific type of tie down where I asked them specific questions, in the beginning of the call that gave me leverage to close them later on because I pre-handled that objection of, no, I need to do more research. No, I need to become more certain. And not only does this make your closing way more fun because you can actually connect with people, you actually understand people, but it also makes you way more influential as well. When you truly understand what drives certain people, when you can talk to a person for like 2 to 5 minutes and you understand exactly what drives this person, what could their objection be, what's holding them back, what type of beliefs does this person hold, you can close people so effectively and closing becomes way more enjoyable as well. Another example here is when you talk to the typical young, like 18 to 25-year-old that has big goals, they're very ambitious, they want to make money online. Usually those type of people, I noticed over and over again, they have a lot of fear, okay? A lot of times when I talk to those people on a sales call, they have a lot of fear about taking action. They don't understand that becoming an entrepreneur and making money online, it requires stepping into uncertainty. So usually we get to the end of the call, they're scared and they back out because they're too scared to actually take action on their goal of spending the money, etc., to actually buy the coaching program. That was a problem I was running into. So what did I do? I started treating that objection early in the call. I started talking to that specific fear that these guys had, that specific pattern that I was seeing, and started focusing on that. You know, these guys, they have big goals. They usually know what the problem is. So I don't need to focus so much on that for that specific person, okay? For other people, that might be super important to focus on, but for these guys, that's not the case. For these guys, things need to really like hammer down, get them to understand that getting to these goals that they have is going to be a scary journey. It's going to be uncomfortable. Get them to understand that and shift their beliefs in the beginning of the call from, okay, if I feel scared, I'm going to hold back. I'm going to like just pull out and not do it, to understanding that, okay, fear is the way. The more I can move into fear, the more I can move into uncertainty, the more success I will see. And if I help these people understand that, they end up buying. And then I was able to actually help them. They could get past their own limiting beliefs, and I was able to close them as well. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. This is some extremely important stuff you can apply on your next sales call. Just like start becoming aware of who you're talking to, who is this person, and become very aware of the language that they're using. And you will start seeing these trends. You will start to be able to put people in different buckets, and then you will have different ways of closing these different people. You know, you will talk with some type of person, and then you will have almost like a preset process that you use to close a specific type of avatar way more effectively. Let me know what you guys think about this more advanced sales training type of videos, if you like them, or if you like the more like entry-level, beginner-friendly type of stuff. And if you want help from me to actually learn how to sell in this exact same way, get calls reviewed from me directly, get coached by me one-on-one to learn sales, get extremely good at this stuff, and get into a good high-ticket sales role where you can make your first $10,000 to $20,000 per month high-ticket sales role. Just like I've helped over 100 guys. You can apply for coaching from me by booking a call, download this video, we'll chat, see if you're a good fit. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I'm happy to reply to any questions, give you some value over there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video very soon. Ciao.